Welcome to today's Review and Brew. All this week we are featuring when animals attack. So we had to find the most ferocious animal, and I think we found it in today's film.
Sheeps.
We are reviewing Black Sheep.
The film starts off innocently enough with a sheep farming family going about their daily tasks. We have a young chipper lad and his limping jerk of an older brother Angus, who pranks his younger brother Henry in the family barn with a sheep carcass, forever scarring him. Years later, Henry returns to the farm to sell his half of the establishment to his jerk-ass brother for a cool $2 million. While this is happening, a duo of chakra-loving yoga freaks attempt to sabotage the genetic experimenting at the farm, which results in Mr. Goatee getting bitten by a zombie sheep baby. This sets off a whole chain of events where Angus bangs a sheep, everything farts, and Henry must work with Lady Hippie Face to stop the impending doom.
Now, when we were trying to find movies that fit the themes of animal attacks, our stock of animal horror films is pretty thin, so we had to do some minor Google searches, and we came across this one. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised because we both thought this was going to be like kind of a modern-day cheesy, schlocky B-movie.
Just based off of the trailer alone, we thought this was going to be a funny movie, but for all the wrong reasons. Bad acting, bad directing, crappy effects, just, you're going to be laughing at it for the wrong reasons. But, this film is funny for all the right reasons. It gives you the jokes, and you laugh at what they tried to make you laugh at.
Is that a good one or bad one? Oh, definitely bad.
It's not funny.
Now, most of the humor in this is pretty predictable and pretty lowbrow, but they take the jokes and push them further than you expect into this kind of like gross out humor, which is off-putting but also hilarious.
Right. Now, as lowbrow as some of these jokes might seem, the movie more than makes up for it in quality, especially with the special effects. You have all this rubber and wax and fake blood, and none of it is CGI, and it looks so good on screen.
And all the gore effects, like, had intestines. Like, a sheep would bite into the arm and it looked like intestines were spilling out. In the neck, intestines. In the face, intestines.
If someone got a paper cut and you look down real close, you'd see little tiny intestines just spurting out. They love intestines in this movie.
It was just like so much fun just seeing all this stuff splattering about. You see like half-eaten bodies strewed across the ground and just these cute, lovable little lambs.
I know, when you think of a little innocent animal, you think of a lamb, probably. And to see these sheep just mauling people and ripping out their intestines, it's a great difference between like a zombie monster or like a reptile monster or any typical monster.
That's one of the great things about these creature features, kind of like Night of the Lepus, although Night of the Lepus is a very bad movie and funny for the wrong reasons. Night of the Lepus, you have bunny rabbits, and you can't not make them look cute. And in this movie, you have sheep, and they're just adorable, but it works for the humor. Like, it's purposefully, I feel like they chose this animal, one, because it's New Zealand and there's sheep everywhere, but it's just so funny to see these lovely creatures chowing down on human flesh.
Right. There are a lot of movies that try and use animals in a ferocious way, but they end up being adorable. You have Willard. That is what comes to mind for me. You can take these rats, and a lot of people think of rats as these horrifying little rodents. But when you see them on screen, they're pretty cute, and the people in Willard actually tried to make them not adorable, but they couldn't help it. So that was kind of a little difference. In this, they're just like, yeah, everybody loves sheep. They're adorable. Let's just make them monsters. Who cares if they're cute?
Until there's the man sheep. The people turning into the sheep, then it's actually really creepy.
That is like, pretty disturbing.
Those were the most terrifying parts of this movie because there were some genuinely scary moments.
Yes. About the music, what did you think?
I thought the music held it back a little bit. It wasn't bad, but it was very generic. And with a movie as bizarre as this, I would have liked something a little strange just to punctuate the humor.
A little quirky, a little weird.
Yeah. Another thing that I found as a con in this movie was the acting. The acting was very one note and the characters were not very dimensional.
See, I have to disagree with you there. Well, I agree that they were one-dimensional, but I feel like they did it on purpose. This is obviously a spoof movie. This is a creature feature a la 1950s horror films. And the acting, they fall into all the tropes of those types of films. And for me at least, it seemed like they were doing that on purpose. It didn't seem like a byproduct of the bad acting. It seemed very like, okay, this is what we're going for.
See, I would make the argument, another movie very similar to this is The Grabbers. And if you've ever seen that, it's another spoof of creature feature movies, but all the characters were very interesting and they all seem kind of separate. I didn't care at all for the main character. I didn't care for the hippie character that was kind of his love interest. The only character that I really liked in this was the character of Tucker. And
okay, yeah,
he was pretty awesome.
I can see what you're saying there. Tucker was absolutely hilarious. Anytime he talks, you are going to laugh. He's got brilliant one-liners, and he's just an all-around funny guy. He has a lot of life to him.
The character of Tucker was kind of like the voice of the audience. Whenever like our hero Henry or the hippie lady would do something stupid, he would speak right up and say what you're thinking.
Get on the fucking truck!
Like, no, don't do that.
You
Like,
idiot.
Idiot, just run.
Also, one of the only characters that you actually care about, he gets attacked by a sheep creature and starts to succumb to some of the effects.
I'll get a tip in the shop when we get back. Clear right up. The sheep did that.
Pretty early on in the film, too.
He's the only character where you're like, oh, come on, not this guy. Please, oh, damn it.
But they do bring him back.
They do bring him back, and that just makes it even more delicious. So for the month of October, we're doing a lot of films. There's a lot of reviews coming up. And I feel like for a lot of them, I get a little bit of movie fatigue. I don't know if that term has been coined before, but I'm gonna put it right here. There is such a thing as movie fatigue. Halfway through a movie, you start to get a little tired, a little bored. You want
days out.
you want to go make some popcorn or wash the dishes or do something else. This movie, however, this does not have that. Amazingly as it is, you're entertained the whole way through. There's enough action, enough humor, and it bounces around between action and humor and just everything.
There's no downtime. It just keeps going. You don't feel the need to get up out of your seat, make a bag of popcorn, or anything like that.
Right. It's not a super train going from the moon to Mars, but it's also not a slow, dramatic crawl. It's just a steady-paced movie that is entertaining.
Big disclaimer, if you are thinking about checking this one out, you might want to avoid it if, say, you're vegan, an animal activist. If poop jokes and sheep shagging make you feel a bit uncomfortable, you might want to give this one a miss.
But if you're like us and you're a terrible person and find fart jokes hilarious, however often they're presented in a film, give this one a watch because it is absolutely hilarious. If you like Dead Alive by Peter Jackson, that's a very similar type of humor. And honestly, what's not to love about a movie about a bunch of adorable sheep murdering people? Sheep are great, and so is beer. So we have a sheep-themed beer, and if you're into ewes, we have a beer by Uinta. Baba Black Lager. Let's give it a shot.
Cheers!
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 Cheers! So for aroma, I get a little bit of malt, but not much else.
It's very thin-bodied, and it fits the style of lager very well.
It's a very easy-to-drink, sessionable beer. Now, you don't see a lot of black lagers on the market. What's great about this style, as unique as it is you get a lot of nuanced flavors. You have a little bit of licorice, you have molasses, you have all the character of a darker beer without it being heavy or too rich.
Now, Uinta is a great company, and they do this style very well, and I find myself stocking the fridge with this beer quite often, so I would highly suggest it.
So much like the film, if you want something a little different, a little off the beaten path, if you will, give this beer a try because it's a darn tasty beer and it should be palatable to most everybody. Thanks for watching Review and Brew. We'll see you tomorrow.
Little bastard!